What's going on, everybody, and welcome back to Comic Breakdown. In this video, we are jumping back into our indie comic weekends. In this video, we are going to be diving into Brzrkr, Poetry of Madness one-shot. Now, the main limited series may have come to an end, but that doesn't mean that there are not infinite stories that we can tell about B, with Brzrkr being alive since the very beginning, the very inception of humankind. He has walked these lands, from one side of the world to the other. He has seen the rise of empires, the fall of dictators. He has fought in some of the bloodiest conflicts that have ever ensued humankind. This story is going to be taking us to the lost city of Atlantis. So, make sure you guys have subscribed to the channel, make sure that you like this video, and with that being said, let's dive into this breakdown. Alright gang, so as we dive into this issue, we are picking up at Atlantis, a place full of beauty, full of culture, and riches as far as the eye can see. This is the stuff of legend the world over. There isn't a barbarian horde or a slaver in the land that hasn't heard of this place. And all the rumors, all the killers they draw to Poseidon's gate, they are all by design. This is where we see an entire army descending down on Atlantis. All of these poor souls, they come in a way they are the stewards to Atlantean sovereignty. They serve a very key purpose, because their spilled blood, this quenches the thirst of the one who sustains all of them. Because Atlantis' true legend, it doesn't lie in its spires or riches, but in the demigod who protects them all. As this army reaches the gates, there is a woman that stands before them. It halts the entire assault. A woman by the name of Zubatai, loyal servant to the beloved monarch of Atlantis, King Azaias the Kind. But she is also the honored chronicler and squire to the king's personal guard. She is here to warn them that they are trespassing upon Atlantean soil, that they can surrender now and pay tribute to their great king, that they can bask in the mercy instead of their wrath. If they refuse, they will face the king's guard. When asked who is the king's guard, it is not a they, it is not a group, it is a singular man. Poseidon's pet demon, the tip of the trident, the Hope Slayer, Unut the Brzrkr. As the horde laughs at this, a singular man trying to stop an army. The man speaking is the first one to be struck down. In the blink of an eye, his entire torso explodes. Blood and guts shot out in all directions. And we see Brzrkr with his red glistening armor. He cuts his way through all the ranks. He is the greatest legend that no one has ever heard of. And this is simply because no one ever lives to tell the tale. And for over half a century, the Squire's family, they have devoted themselves, pledging themselves to the undying service to the immortal master. Like her father before her, she sees to his every need, to make an account of all his great and noble deeds. He is proof that divinity begates grace. He is the literal birth of myth, and he teaches them on why gods should be feared. Now his squire goes on to talk while he is just absolutely destroying anybody that may stand in his way. Her father had shared all the knowledge about Brzrkr, that he only needed truly one thing, and that is carnage. Within his rage is an inferno of violence and brutality so limitless that it could have engulfed the world. Perhaps one day it might. That's one reason she keeps her distance when the fighting begins. If she is being truthful, it is her life's greatest honor to observe him, to watch as he absolutely crushes his enemies. And though she has to observe his carnage, she doesn't feel that this pulls on her soul. Despite his murderous tendencies, her master is a wonderful one. She never has to work the harvest festivals, gifted wine, dates on her birthdays. She could not ask for a better master. With the horns being blown of the battle's end, the dwindling screams of their protectors' dying victims, this is all drowned out by the thunderous applause. The Atlantean people hunger for the blood-soaked spectacle that he may provide. To the outside world, he may seem like a monster, but to the citizens of all Atlantis, he stands next to Poseidon in their pantheon's hierarchy, and yet he still walks the same streets as the beggars. He drinks the same wine, and for this, the people love him. Usually he is one for solidarity. More often than not, he will keep to his own company, except on victory days. For all the love that they give him, he gives all of that love right back. Now, the king's reign, this was all enabled solely because of Unut. But this was never put into question. As long as Atlantis was safe and life was good, then the king would remain. And Brzrkr loved the king. That love made it very difficult to see the changes in the king. The kindness that was once behind the king's eyes, they were replaced with a murky moonlight, full of corruption and forbidden desire. Brzrkr could only see the eyes of a frightened boy he had saved so many years ago. An attempted coup. The king's parents had been murdered. The boy was next. But that is when Brzrkr had intervened, killing all those that might kill the boy. From that moment forward, he stood as the king's protector. Some would even speculate that this was Brzrkr's first real home. His first true home, one that he had chosen and built on his own terms. And as we pick up later that evening, we see that the royal library had been sacked. This happened because of the priest and his followers. They have stolen a very dangerous ancient text, one that Brzrkr had kept hidden away. The text was written in an evil language, one that would poison the minds of mortal men. The priest and his followers, they wish to resurrect long-dead gods, and Brzrkr can smell them. The priest and his followers, they are still here. They have gathered upon the northeastern tower. Not only that, but the king is with them. With Brzrkr's arrival, the king tells him not to worry, to not be mad. They simply want to talk. They believe that they are on the precipice of a great change, that they all were chosen, not just Brzrkr, telling Brzrkr to remain calm, and that is the king's command. But Brzrkr tells the king that these fools are evil, that the wizard has poisoned your mind. They seek to end the world, and he will not allow this. He apologizes to the king but says, "You can banish me if you wish, but all the people in this room, they will die tonight." When the king goes to beg Brzrkr to stop, the ground around Brzrkr, it rises up, vines coming up and trapping Brzrkr in place, the thorns piercing his body, the blood dripping from his skin. This is when they grab hold of him and they use his blood, pouring the blood into chalices. The king had been fooled into believing that they could all be immortal, that they could all be like Brzrkr, having his blood and the sword, an artifact forged from primordial ore. These together are a key, a doorway to a god. As everyone drinks the blood of Brzrkr, Brzrkr is able to break free, but not in time. The doorway opens up. Everyone looks to the sky. They look to the portal. The night air filled with the stench of 1,000 millennias of alien rot and decay. And then a roar that is older than time itself. A god had returned home. The one known as Cthulhu. And this is when the Great Purge begins. The city begins to get torn down, ripped apart. That's when Brzrkr grabs hold of that sword, and he goes to do his duty. He is the king's guard, the royal protector of Atlantis, and Cthulhu is trespassing on his land. This is when Brzrkr jumps from the building and he leaps right at Cthulhu. He drives his sword deep and slashes in. He fights and tussles, the tentacles grabbing hold of him every chance they get. But Cthulhu knows exactly who this man is. He is the half-breed, the demigod. He tells Brzrkr that there is no stopping this, that he is nothing more than a speck of dust, with Brzrkr getting slung down to the ground. His stomach sliced open and his guts are spilling out. Cthulhu tells him that his father had slept too long, that Brzrkr's dad's garden, it is left unattended. But Cthulhu will come and till the soil of this place, and then he will plant anew, with Brzrkr's body trying to heal quickly. His guts still may be out, that doesn't stop him from leaping up and going after Cthulhu again. With Brzrkr breaking off one of the giant teeth of Cthulhu, he goes in to swallow everybody. And in all the chaos, the king has lost his life. With the priest and the others still inside of here, they go to say their incantation, but as Brzrkr comes upon them, the priest says he begs for his life. saying that he can help, that he knows the language, he can speak it, and he can communicate with Cthulhu. What the priest didn't know is that Brzrkr, he already knows the language. He understands the ins and outs of it. He speaks it as if he were to be Cthulhu. The priest had no idea that Brzrkr was such a godly individual. He didn't understand what he was truly up against. By the time that he realizes, it is already too late. Brzrkr ripping out the heart of the priest. He takes the heart and he shoves it down the priest's throat. And as the acid from inside Cthulhu begins to eat everybody alive, this is where Brzrkr makes his way to the very heart of the beast. On the subject of gods, Brzrkr would often say, God is just a word that means more power than sense. Cthulhu, despite its infinite power for destruction, it was just an animal like every other. And like any other man or beast who would face against Brzrkr, it died once its heart had been torn out. Just like that, Cthulhu is taken out. Unfortunately, the city of Atlantis had fallen. Brzrkr watched as his chosen home dissolved under alien fire. He watched the scene without emotion, all trace of the great civilization gone in an instant. He thanked his squire for her years of service, and then he released her from service, choosing the solitude of the wilderness once again. Even for Unut the Brzrkr, some wounds, they simply will never heal. Despite all the pain and suffering that he has endured, he still does not cry, but she will weep for the both of them. And that will be the end of this issue. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Not gonna lie, when I first read this story, I did not expect it to go down the path of Cthulhu. But if anything, this is a testament to how powerful Brzrkr can truly be. We have seen him face against man, against swords and bullets, tanks and everything in between. But we have never faced against another god, a being so infinitely powerful that you couldn't even perceive him to win this fight. But Brzrkr endured. This makes me very curious on which god is in fact the god of B, which god is his father. This also opens up Brzrkr to so much more. Gods of all pantheons. The possibilities are truly limitless. Not only that, but we are also getting a TV show and an anime that are going to be coming out. From what Keanu Reeves had said, I believe the last time he said it was at Comic-Con, and he was talking about how there will be at least 2 seasons of the animated show and possibly a live-action movie. The anime voiced by him, and then the movie, he will be betraying himself or his creation, if you will. So while for the time being, Brzrkr has definitely been laid down, that doesn't mean that we don't have more stories on the way, we don't have more adaptations of what may be. Hopefully the show and the movie are successful enough that we get some more written stories by Matt Kent and a bunch of other individuals really continuing on what they have built here. But let me know your thoughts, let me know your theories. If you would like to get completely caught up on everything that is going on or has gone on with Brzrkr, go ahead, check out the link in my description as well as the top of this video. It is gonna get you completely caught up on everything going on with Brzrkr. If you would like to support the channel, you can always do so by joining the channel membership, much like Patreon, having multiple different tiers, from $1 to $50, from loyalty badges to comics every single month. Not only are you helping out the channel tremendously, but you are getting tons of perks in the process. Now, if you're unable to do this, do me a favor, subscribe to the channel, like this video, hit that notification bell, and with that being said, until the next breakdown.